What better than a snow-oriented vehicle for January? Don't go away. Hello everybody and welcome to Fat Guy Productions. I am Paul, coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. And I gotta tell you, I'm feeling pretty good. The post office really came through for me. I did not think this video would be out in time because my tracks weren't supposed to be here until tomorrow, which is today. Wow, that's kind of mind warping right there. Tomorrow, which is today, which is not tomorrow. Okay, so anyhow, today's Friday that I'm doing this right here. Okay, the video that you're watching right this second, it's Saturday. So I didn't think I was going to have the tracks in time, is what it comes down to. And the post office delivered my tracks a day early, so I made it. I made it in time. My video dropped this morning at 6 a.m. and I really didn't think it was going to happen. So let's take a look at my build of the Snow Trac. So today for the 3 Blind Mice build off, we're going to be doing the Matchbox series number 36 Snow Trac. Now, here's the sad news. This was my choice. I picked this casting, and frankly, I don't have any good, valid ideas of what to do here, so I'm punting at this point. I'm behind. We got the Rona in the house. It kind of slowed everything down. I'm back to working, but now I've got a deadline on this Snow Trac and no idea what I'm going to do. But I guess we'll just have to forge ahead and figure it out. I'll be going through my normal procedure for getting the car apart. Yes, I'm still using the oil just to even drill the car apart. I think it makes the bit cut so much better. Everything is easier with a drop of oil here. So a drop of oil, drill off the end of the post, take the car apart. The best laid plans of mice and men. It seems no matter how much you drill on these things, they never just want to come apart. You often need a little bit of persuasion, and that's what this trusty screwdriver is here for. It is my helper in coaxing these things apart. So, as I'm taking this apart, I've decided on a path. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and make this look more realistic, as this is a casting of a real vehicle. Now, the casting itself is very simple. It's got the base, the glass, the body, it's got the bogies, and it's supposed to have some tracks. That's going to be a whole separate issue for me later on. You already know how much I love the Vix Bits for taking castings apart, but they are even better at prepping the end of the post. Just pop it over the end of the post, run the drill for a second, and you are in business. Another drop of oil and a small drill bit, and I'm ready to drill out the post. These posts are not exceptionally long, so it's important that you use a little caution so you don't drill right through the hood. Would it be the end of the world? No, it can be fixed. But why make that extra work for yourself when you can just be careful right here? If you go back in time and watch my earlier builds, you'll notice I never tapped out my posts, and you really don't have to. But since I've found this wonderful tap handle from Brightvision, I have become a fan of tapping out the posts. It's easier now, And I think it's going to head off potential problems with maybe breaking the post or something. So I just find it a great way to go, especially since I've got this wonderful tap handle, which makes the job so much easier. I'm using a grinding wheel in my rotary tool to get rid of the ends of the axles so that I can remove them and the little wheels that are on there. While I'm doing this, I'm thinking to myself, why am I continuing to do this? The other day I saw Marty just cut the axle in half. Then he used a little bit of tubing, made an axle tube, and glued the axles back into the axle tube. And honestly, in this particular casting, there's plenty of room. Axle tubes would have worked perfectly and actually looked fine. So I'm really contemplating the idea of scrapping and just cutting these axles in half rather than going through the process of removing the flared out end, because it's really difficult, and then you have to flare it back out when you put the car back together. All in all, I think putting axle tubes in would be far easier, and it's definitely something I'm thinking about trying. Yes, it is time for a new batch of warm liquid goo. But for right now, this is going to have to make do. And, as a special treat, we're getting a double drop, as I have to drop in the body and the base. I'm going to drop the little plastic wheels into my vat of Super Clean. Get all the scamots off of those, and they should be ready by the time I'm ready for them. Now, as I said, this is a casting that is modeled off a real-life vehicle. And most of the real-life vehicles are indeed red. There are some green ones and some other kinds, but they're mostly red, and I think I'm going to stick with red. Now, I'm going to give the top of it a gloss red paint job using some Tamiya gloss red, and then the bottom is going to be a flat red just to add a little difference to it, make it visually interesting. This is not the only time I'm going to paint this though, because I'm going to screw it up later and it's going to piss me off and I'm going to have to start all over with the painting. But hey, sometimes that happens. So, other than just a straight up restoration here, I'm doing what I like to call a resto mod, where the concept is to keep the vehicle looking sort of like it did when it was original, but maybe adding a different wheel or a little bit of detail, and that's what I'm going for here. I'm going to get in here with my paintbrushes and I'm going to detail out the bogies that are down on the base. Now here is the mistake that is going to cost me another trip to the paint booth. On the top of the Snow Trac is what appears to be like a fabric top or something like that. And I thought that would look nice in white. So I'm going to paint that flat white. I'm going to start by taping it off. And then the big mistake is that I'm not going to take it over to the airbrush booth and paint it that way. I'm going to brush paint it on. Too much paint's going to go on. It's going to leak under the tape. It's going to look really, really crappy. I just can't abide it. It's going to end up back in the warm liquid goo. But anyhow, I'm going to show you the mistake as I do it. I'm going to start by taking some plain old masking tape, and I'm going to tape off around the white part where I want to paint it, and then I'm going to use a little Tamiya XF2 flat white paint, and like I said, I'm going to brush paint this on, and that was where the real mistake happens. It just was a terrible idea. If I had gone with the airbrush, I could have laid this down very lightly, very dry. It wouldn't have run. It probably would have come out pretty cool. Will I redo it after I repaint the entire thing? I don't know, but right now, stupid me, I'm painting along blissfully, thinking this is going to come out great. It's not. So while the flat white paint dries, I'm going to go ahead and turn my attention back to the base. The detail painting I did is dry, and now I'm just going to add a little emphasis by using some Tamiya panel liner, and I'm just going to dot it in there just to give it a little more of a realistic look. Okay, wait for it. Wait for it. Right here, this is where I get kicked in the gems. I'm removing the tape, I'm doing it right, I'm pulling it off at an angle and into the paint job, and it still looks like crap. And right now I'm thinking to myself, this totally sucks. I've got this deadline, I'm already behind, and now I'm going to have to repaint this entire thing. So, let's get out the jar of warm liquid goo and start back at the beginning. So while the body sits in the goo, I can continue my work on the base. I decided I wanted the front grille to be like chrome, so I'm going to color that in with my Molotow chrome pen, and it should come out really, really nice. Okay, so I have the body repainted and dry and sitting over here ready to go. So I'm going to move forward and I'm going to get back into the super clean and pluck out all the little wheels. And then I'm just going to go over them with a paper towel and a toothpick and make sure there's no last bits of scamot still on them. For putting the wheels and axles back on the base, I tried something new. And you see Lee, Time Rider, you see him do this all the time. Instead of using Marty's method in my drill press, I put the axle through the wheels, put the back side of the axle down on a little piece of metal, and then I start banging on it with my hammer. And this kind of flares out the end of the axle and locks everything back together. And honestly, I thought that was actually a little bit easier than Marty's method. So I go ahead and put this back together with the one screw up in the front, and then I detailed the door handle on the back and the little running boards on either side, and this is almost done except for the tracks. Now I told you there was an issue with the tracks. I thought I had white tracks for this already, but for the life of me I can't find them, and the only tracks I was able to find was a set for a tank and 2 sets for tractors, none of which will work here. So I had to order a new set of tracks, and I don't know that they're going to get here in time. Well, the tracks have arrived, and here is my Snow Trac, all done and ready to go. I really hope you love it. Well, there you have it, my build of the Snow Trac for the Three Blind Mice January Invitational. This is a casting I picked. In the end, I actually had a lot of fun doing this. There were a lot of twists and turns for me, a lot of setbacks, but I got it done, and I'm really glad. Thank you, Post Office, for being so diligent in getting it to me actually a day ahead of time. It really means a lot. I know you guys and gals work so hard, and I'm very appreciative. So anyhow, that's going to be it for today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, click subscribe, and be sure to click the notification bell so you don't miss a moment of my videos. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I love to hear from you guys. It's the highlight of my day. For all of you out there living in areas where you're gonna get snow, just remember, when it snows, you can either shovel or make snow angels. Until next time, this is Paul from Fat Guy Productions, saying be good.